10 attainments, 1 game, and we shall begin.
I'm Max.
Fallout was originally never known for its esoteric gunplay, intricate build mode, or profound loot system. If we're talking about gameplay as in the dialogue, the choice, and the exploration, then Fallout New Vegas is the primordial example, along with Fallout 1 and 2 on how to make Fallout the greatest game it can be. Fallout, to me, was a be whoever you want and get away with it kind of game. I can build my character to be the way I want a character to be in the game world, from a pacifistic genius to an ultra-violent monster. You are given the ability to become a wastelander, just as you desire, in an extraordinary post-apocalyptic story that surrounds you. And New Vegas vigorously exceeds at providing that kind of euphoric experience. But if we ignore the role-playing elements for now and look at the gameplay as what you're doing when you play the game, then it's safe to say that a potentially potently invigorating engagement between yourself and a friend or enemy isn't going to be that astounding. This is not necessarily at the fault of Fallout New Vegas, but rather the terribly outdated Gamebryo engine that it uses. But because of that, the gunplay was clunky and generally unappealing, along with how your movement was sluggish and felt helpless. I think anyone who tries to ignore those facts are the kinds of people who have either never played any other games past the second millennium, or otherwise don't even realize they have tens to thousands of gigabytes in their add-on folder. Mods can fix every single criticism I ever make of this game, as well as many other games. So I'm going to be focusing on the base game just because it's fair for everyone to understand. Alright, so one half of the gameplay is an unbelievably fantastic role-playing game, and the other half of the gameplay is an inadequate and poorly accomplished shooter. That does make it a whole lot better, and the gore explosions are a blast. But I just can't stand going in iron sights with my gun swaying all over my damn screen and seeing absolutely no response from a fiend's face after launching a slug from a combat shotgun right in between their eyes. They barely flinch, if even that, and then keep strafing around me like I'm a little idiot with a toy gun. And of course, this is no exception for Fallout 3. In fact, Fallout 3 was way worse. This is the improved combat system. Unfortunately, it's still not a delightful experience. Bullet sponges, swaying guns, slow movement, and unresponsive feedback make the gameplay a pain in the ass. Now, it's a great thing for this game that this is just the potatoes. The actual meat itself is in everything I mentioned before. The RPG elements, which we're gonna get to very soon. This game doesn't have a story. It has many stories, and not just many stories, many good stories, many well-written stories, many emotional stories. Despite the fact that it's on an engine where every character looks more plastic than a Barbie doll, you can still feel for the characters in the world around you. There are even entire YouTube channels dedicated to explaining the intricacies happening within the game world, from a pyromaniac murdering rapist called Cook to a classy self-made CEO and Andrew Ryan-esque Vegas boss named Mr. House. What more can you ask for? Well, a lot more, of course, and plenty of it is graciously given to you. The writing is extraordinarily stellar. If I had to compare the quality of the quests of Fallout New Vegas to another piece of media, then it's something like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. Remarkably realistic, mature, and emotionally driven. Scripted by some of the greatest legends in RPG history, known for their devastating role-playing masterpieces. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about what New Vegas brings to the table. Stories of murder, rape, enslavement, drugs, gangs, gambling, alcoholism, war, betrayal, innocence, government, allegiance, torture, and just saying those very generic literary terms does not do this game justice, as it deeply explores each and every one of them through various quests, encounters, and environmental storytelling. This game cuts deep and doesn't hold back. And it's not just edgy for the sake of being edgy, it actually serves a delicious dish of practicality in an obliterated world trying to repair. Whereas Bethesda likes to focus on
Where's my son? Where's my dad? Oh, look at this. Here's Boston. Here's Washington, D.C. Here, explore it. Spend entire days exploring this whole world while you're urgently trying to find your dad and son. Obsidian seems to understand that Fallout is a living, breathing universe, not just a background to serve as a setting for the story. I don't like to jab at Bethesda because everyone else does that, and I absolutely love their games. But let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves, guys. They suck at writing Fallout games, okay? Or at the very least, they sucked at writing Fallout 4 and any future Fallout game they make that resembles Fallout 4. Fallout 3 was pretty good. But if you try to contest that Fallout 4 has good writing in the comment sections, then I, and many others, will happily make you look like a dumbass. That's enough about Fallout 4. I'll save that for another day. Anyways, New Vegas. Every time I would talk to someone that I could initiate dialogue with, I always knew they'd have something interesting for me. Whether that be a quest or just a piece of information, even merchants who just sell things to you are actual characters, not just NPCs who sell things. And I don't need an entire dynamic supercluster of ultimate awesome complexities and superabundance of neurons packed inside a piece of code. But I would like for them to be someone, not just something. New Vegas does this very well. And although not every NPC is crazy cool story time, at least they fill the world with an actual personality. It's very frustrating when I see someone in a game that looks like they serve an engaging role, and then it turns out they repeat the same piece of dialogue that's one sentence long, and I leave them in disappointment, wishing there would be more. So good job on New Vegas to trump that occurrence. I think the main campaign serves fairly well, and although it is a full-fledged and giant journey, I personally didn't find it as phenomenal as the whole of the game was hyped up to be. Which is why I was disappointed the first time I played it, because all I did was the main quest, and then quit right after that. And you shouldn't play it like that. You really shouldn't. The Vegas Strip and the final battle at Hoover Dam are gargantuan disappointments, with some exceptions. Without mods, due to the stupid fucking Bethesda Gamebryo engine limitations, which I'll go more into later, and the fact they only got a year and a half to do this game. What the fuck? Anyways, the game was meant to be played with all of its side missions in mind and can only be fully enjoyed when embarking on those opportunities. Those little side quests are their own little campaigns and deserve just as much if not more attention than the main story. Although I will say that some of the DLC that expand the main story and its elements performed marvelously. I just have to say that this game has given me some extraordinarily memorable moments that I will embrace for the rest of my life. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say there's anything on the level of The Last of Us or The Walking Dead where tears were forming out of my face. Although, again, that could just be an engine issue, but regardless, you can clearly discern the stellar skill and talent poured into the stories told throughout New Vegas. According to standoutbooks.com, your characters are people with their own set of complexities, their own opinions, and their own personalities. You need to take time to nurture growth, develop, and relationships. In almost every case, you can't have a good story without good characters. In the Mojave Wasteland, they all prove to be outstanding. They have their own set of beliefs and morals. You'll slowly begin to unearth each one, and every conversation leads you to understand who they are, because that's how they were designed, to be a who, not a what. On occasion, you'll even find a character that vivaciously acts more human than some actual human beings. Many of the characters are connected in intricately woven relationships, and gradually understanding this network of family, friends, and foes is fascinating in of itself. Like the first time you watched a TV series and you're quickly introduced to a whole cast of unknown people, and then at the end of the show you know who every single person is by heart. This is exemplary work for character development in video games. Here we are. The main attainment of this game. Let's break the role-playing elements into these categories: exploration, stats, choice, and dialogue.
For exploration, there's a superabundance of captivating set pieces as well as secret hidden away areas that you're bound to investigate as soon as you see them. The map is large, and points of interest are peppered throughout the landscape. Although a lot of it is empty, that is true. For stats, the perk, special, and skill system is implausibly satisfying. After suffering through hours living inside a clunky freighter that embodies the makeup of your player experience, you now have the options to improve that or even skip it altogether by talking, tanking, sneaking, sniping, knifing, or blowing up your friends and or enemies the way you desire in order to get out of or into certain situations. For choice, there is no more black and white. There is a lot of gray in this game, and that's a good thing. All of your choices will depend on a gigantic spectrum of morality and ethics, expressed through widely debated ideologies, some even centuries or millennia old examinations of life and humanity. No longer do you have to either choose saving the universe forever, sunshine and rainbows, or torturing every living creature for personal amusement. There is now a reason to actually take morally ambiguous options, and you do actually affect the world around you. Now, there's nothing absolutely game-changing or life-altering about most of the choices. In fact, the most you can do is affect what kind of ending you get. But that is more than enough to satisfy me, along with everything else it does right. There are factions and a reputation system that realistically affect how others in the game will look at you. And then there's the dialogue system. In my opinion, the magnum opus of the Fallout franchise. The creme de la creme of the Fallout franchise. The pick of the litter of the Fallout franchise. The golden child of the Fallout franchise. The dialogue system. In New Vegas, it's probably the best it's ever been in any Fallout game. So many choices. So many questions to ask, so many insults to say, so many threats to give, so many contributions to provide, so much help to offer. There is so much you can say. I love it. Fallout, specifically and especially Fallout New Vegas, has the funniest and most pragmatic player-based conversations than any other game I've ever seen. And it used to be why Fallout was my all-time favorite game series ever, until Fallout 4. But that's a video for another day. It's huge. There's over hundreds of hours of gameplay standalone, and the potential for thousands more when you start to mod it. It's glorious. The strip itself is scarce. The buildings don't even look immense or astonishing. The main building is almost completely empty. This is what New Vegas is supposed to look like. This is what New Vegas actually looks like. This looks like a second-hand shopping center. I know the creators did not envision this to be the final product. I know that. I know they didn't have anywhere near enough time to complete their game. But this is the product of that unfortunate event. As for the final mission, same thing. There's hardly any NPCs at all. Almost nothing going on. A few explosions, a few enemies you can shoot at one time, but that's about it. This game wasn't meant to be experienced like that. As for everything else, incredible. What more can I say besides what I've already said? Any part of the wasteland that's not just an empty desert is glorious. That's all I gotta say on the matter. Honestly, I wish I could commend the bleak browns, oranges, reds, and yellows the color palette embodies, but it's not really anything special. It serves as a theme, but nothing really super expressive or artistically groundbreaking. In fact, I could even say this game is hard to look at without mods. But once again, the huge fault is at the hands of the engine the game utilizes. Even a game like Red Dead Redemption with a nearly identical environmental design looks gorgeous because it's powered by decent technology. It has less to do with the graphic fidelity and more to do with the plastic-looking models and meshes. There are tons of games made before New Vegas that are way more aesthetically pleasing. New Vegas is unfortunately ugly. The only thing that really stood out to me was the voice acting. Positively stellar. Most of the music I truly rejoiced from was the same music that was in Fallout 1 and 2, so I can't really give credit to New Vegas with those. That doesn't mean any of the songs were bad. I loved both the atmospheric country-like compositions as well as the radio songs, but there's only a few truly memorable ones. And that one started to get on my nerves. The sound effects themselves were fine, although I did find myself exchanging the gunshot sound effects with modded MP3s, so it definitely wasn't the best, but certainly serviceable even for a game of this caliber. Not great. We're coming back to the issues with the engine. There seems to be a pattern here. There are quite a few bugs. Sometimes I can't even play the game for more than a couple of minutes before it crashes without modding in some stabilizers. All of the settings are pretty much the same as they were in Fallout 3, save for the iron sights option, and that's not a good thing. I am left-handed, so I have to change all of my key bindings, and there are certain key bindings you cannot change even in the game files, such as the Loot All button when you're searching a corpse. That is unacceptable. It is infuriating, especially when I have to deal with this bullshit every time Bethesda releases a new game on the same goddamn stupid fucking engine. I deal with the exact same problem when playing Fallout 3, Skyrim, and Fallout 4. This engine is a boiling cesspool of cockroach coprolite. Fuck you for still using it, Bethesda. This is the same engine you've been using since Morrowind, just updated, and it's the #1 fucking reason why every game you release is vomiting game-breaking bugs every goddamn time. Stop! So basically, it's not New Vegas' fault, but unfortunately, New Vegas must suffer the consequence of using this engine, and that's a shame. Despite what I said in the previous section, it's very easy to get lost in this game. The atmosphere is painted near perfectly through a combination of chilling ambient music, sensational voice acting, tremendously realistic characters, captivating narratives, and just, all of it. The one and only singular, stupid thing that holds it back is the terrible, horrible, awful, dreadful, abominable engine. And that's it. Imagining if this game were on something like the Unreal 4 engine, whew, that would be a big boner time for us Fallout nerds, now wouldn't it? Obsidian Entertainment. These people don't care about making the most amount of money. These people don't care about making a name for themselves. These people don't care about getting any awards. These people only care about one fucking thing: creating a game that they love. And thankfully, they succeed exceedingly well at doing just that. And lucky for us, what they love is almost directly, if not completely, within the realm of what we love. Now, maybe they do kind of care about those other things, but they just don't prioritize it over the game itself. They create a masterpiece first and focus on whatever else second. It is abhorrently unfortunate that they don't get nearly enough credit that they deserve. They are the ones who should be continuing the Fallout franchise, not Bethesda or whoever else they licensed to do so. Obsidian. Obsidian at the time employed almost all of the forefathers of the original Fallout games, the actual creators of Fallout, save for Brian Fargo and maybe a handful of others. They are some of the most incredibly intellectual and inexorable individuals in the history of gaming. Just watch their documentary called The Road to Eternity. It's not about New Vegas, but it shows some of the creators of New Vegas and how absolutely resolute they are in their craft. They completed New Vegas, a superbly superior game to Fallout 3, in 1.5 years. While Bethesda enjoyed 4 full fucking years to complete Fallout 3, the span of entire high school education to make Fallout 3. It's honestly no wonder Bethesda doesn't want to work with Obsidian anymore. They make Bethesda look like Limax Maximus Detritus. Seriously, I love you, Obsidian. And so should all of you. This game is amazing for all of the reasons I mentioned. If you can get past the game engine or at least have a PC and a semi-sound knowledge in modding, then go buy it right now. If this game were released right now on a proper engine, I'd probably value this more than $100.
but unfortunately it's very dated and unoptimized for our generation of gaming. Even for the generation of gaming it was released in, it was still pretty crappy. But unfortunately, it's very dated and unoptimized for our generation of gaming. So I'm valuing it at $50. That is what I believe the value of the game is to you as a consumer at this very moment in time. Seriously, it's a good game. It may take a little bit of patience and determination to get into it due to the goddamn stupid fucking Bethesda engine, but once you're in, you're in. I think that's all I got.
This production was brought to you by me and Coolio's Coolio. He sure is cool.
Toodles.